Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go, for healthcare, for our climate.
After Donald Trump won the 2024 presidential election, late-night hosts reacted to the news on their shows. Jimmy Kimmel choked up during his monologue Wednesday night as he discussed how Election Day was a terrible night.
Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go, for healthcare, for our climate, for science, for journalism, for justice, for free speech. It was a terrible night for poor people, for the middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO, for the truth and democracy and decency. And it was a terrible night for everyone who voted against him. And guess what? It was a bad night for everyone who voted for him, too. You just don't realize it yet. And most of all, it was an absolute disaster of a night for Melania. But it was a really good night for Putin and for polio and for lovable billionaires like Elon Musk and the bros up in Silicon Valley and all the wriggling brainworms who sold what was left of their souls to bow down to Donald Trump. But you know what? I'm going to say something that Trump would never say unless it favored him. The people voted, and this is the choice we made. In January, Donald Trump becomes president, and that's that. He won. Doesn't mean we give up, but it also doesn't mean we storm the Capitol because we don't like the result. And you know,
he ended by sharing the best positive thing he could come up with.
I've been trying. I know a lot of people don't want to hear anything positive. I've been trying to come up with something positive. The best I can come up with is we've been through this once before. And yes, this time it is probably going to be worse, maybe a lot worse. But I also think that maybe we will look back and realize that in the long run, this is what we needed to wake us up. Maybe the people who care so much about him need to find out how little he cares about them. Now, all the promises he makes about stopping wars and imposing tariffs, and how he's going to crush inflation and cut taxes. Now he has to do this stuff. And I hope he does. I really do. I hope his next unpredictable act is to reach across the aisle and do something positive. He really does. The bar's low. He has an opportunity to win us over. Remember when he took office the first time, he started working on infrastructure with Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi until the other Republicans say, hey, we don't do that. We don't work together. Maybe this time he'll shock us and actually do some productive things. He won't, probably, but he could. Or maybe the only good part of all this is he can't run again in 2028. I don't know. Maybe next time... Maybe next time the Republicans will nominate an orangutan for president. Why not? At least make it fun. My only request to President-elect Trump is that he let me share a prison cell with Taylor Swift. I'm really good at making bracelets, and I think we'd get along just fine.
Meanwhile, Stephen Colbert also addressed Trump's victory, telling the audience that despite people thinking he would secretly want the president-elect for a second term due to more material, he feels the opposite, wishing it wasn't the outcome.
Now, as a late-night host, people often say to me, come on, part of you's got to want Trump to win because he gives you so much material to work with. No. No one tells the guy who cleans the bathroom, wow, you must love it when someone has explosive diarrhea. There's so much material for you to work with. Come on. Now, you understand that? That good? I wish, you wish, so many of us wish this hadn't happened, but that is not for us to decide. This is a democracy. That's democracy with a capital duh. And in this democracy, the majority has spoken, and they said they don't care that much about democracy. And I want to take a moment to congratulate Kamala Harris and Tim Walz on running an amazing 107-day campaign. You know, come on. That was extraordinary. Right out of the gate. They hit it right out of the gate. Firstly, I hope they stay in touch. I know they're really good at texting. As we're all about to plunge back into the Trump hole, here's what occurs to me. The first time Donald Trump was elected, he started as a joke. and ended as a tragedy. This time he starts as a tragedy. Who knows what he'll end as? A limerick? There once was a man who was orange. Damn it! Who knows what the next 4 years are going to be like? What we do know is that we're going to be governed by a monstrous child surrounded by cowards and grifters. And my brain keeps pumping out an unlimited supply of ramifications. It's really hard to see a bright side here. So far, all I've got is his inaugural address. Because while it's going to kick his administration off to a terrible start, at least we know the mic stand's going to get a happy ending.
Seth Meyers also spoke about the election and broke down the former president's victory speech in Florida on Tuesday, highlighting parts that did not appear to make sense.
Tell the story. I told it last night. I had a man on the phone. I had the screen muted, no sound. I was talking to a very important man, happens to be here. And that very important guy, one of the most important people in, I would say, the country, actually. But, you know, I was president, and now it looks like I was going to be maybe president again, so I figured I could ask him to hold. So I asked him to hold. And especially because you're going to be president again, they hold. So I took the phone down, and I'm looking at the screen. I'm seeing this crazy thing that's going around and coming down. It looks like it's going to crash into the gantry. And I said, oh, no. And I said, do me a favor, do you mind holding for a couple of minutes? I want to see this. I thought it was a space-age movie or something.
Yeah, no, let's give him the nuclear codes, you know? Why, you thought you were watching a space... What does that even mean? I saw the rocket going up, and then I saw the large black monolith and the monkeys throwing the bone up in the air, and then... there was a baby floating in space, and this wasn't that long ago. This all happened in 2001. I don't think Donald Trump's a good person. I'd even go so far as to say he's a bad person. Now, in my defense, I'm only basing that on everything I've ever been taught about what makes someone good or bad. That's it. That's the only thing I'm basing it on. But, you know, and this is real, and this is something I accept. Half the country thinks he's a good person, or they don't care that he's not because they think he's a good president. And because of that, he's going to be our president again. That's how democracy works in America, a country that is a privilege to live in, even on a morning like today. Also, such a privilege.
Jimmy Fallon joked in his monologue on Wednesday night that Trump's win was like America getting back with their crazy ex.
Well, guys, last night, America decided to get back with their crazy ex and elect Donald Trump as the 47th president of the United States. No matter who you voted for, I think all Americans can agree it's going to be a rough Thanksgiving. Really, right? Yep, Trump returning to the White House is a huge, historic comeback for someone who literally never went away. Of course, Trump's already super busy. First, he's got to move all those classified documents back into the White House. Yeah, Republicans were thrilled about last night until they realized it's going to be 4 more years of Melania's Christmas decorations. Red Rob. It was a tough night for Democrats. Today they turned to Elon Musk like, so tell me more about living on Mars. How close are we? Yet the election wasn't really close. It was a big night for Donald Trump and a bigger night for Don Julio. That's right, 51% of the country is really happy, 47% are really hungover, and one guy is both. And, you know, Trump won last night in pretty convincing fashion, securing the Electoral College and the popular vote, which means for the first time ever, he'll accept the results of an election.
Plus, on Tuesday, election night, Jon Stewart tried to stress hope, saying that this is not the end and telling people they need to continue to fight.
My point is this. But this isn't the end. I promise you, this is not the end. And we have to regroup, and we have to continue to fight and continue to work day in and day out to create the better society for our children, for this world, for this country, that we know is possible. It's possible.